All right. Well, hello, everyone. Thank you for coming. I am Jérôme Gagnon-Voyer. I've been part of Civic Tech. Now it's been a year, a full year in December last year. I own an e-commerce business. With my wife, I've been involved in various nonprofits through my career. And as well with me, I have Michael Gormley and Richard Wu as well. Michael has a background in law and is part of the research team for Civic Dashboard. I'm part of the tech team, and Richard is part of our design team. And if you're looking at the list of names, you might notice someone's missing, but that person is not missing. So it's Ilya, the founder of the project, but I think it's about the reason why it's us is also showing how this project has evolved, and it's really a collective of a lot of people. And I know some of you were part of the presentation, seen the presentation back in April, so that's why it's a project update. But also we want to show how this project is maturing and bringing a lot of different people as well. So for the presentation, we'll do a little explainer as well, a little demo of what Civic Dashboard and what it looks like right now. For those who don't know, what we've been up to since our last presentation through the various teams. So we're really decentralized in many, many different teams: tech, design, marketing, UX, UI design, organizing. So there's a lot of things happening with different group of people, and talking about what we've learned and also what's next, what's coming with the project and how we can get involved. So what is Civic Dashboard? So the typical pitch is that Civic Dashboard is that we believe that we shouldn't need a political science degree to understand city politics in Toronto. For people to get involved in our democracy, in our local democracy, it shouldn't be complicated, and it's not just about understanding how the politics works and understanding who the players are, but it's more about understanding how people can really participate and join the democratic process. So that's really the ethos of Civic Dashboard, and it hasn't really changed since the beginning. What has changed is the name. So it was actually called Citizen Dashboard at first. But the term citizen implies that people have to be Canadian citizen, which actually up to 20% of Toronto people living in the city are actually not citizens. So because while you do need to be citizen to vote, in order to participate in the Toronto City Council process, deputation, you don't actually need to be citizen. So that's why the name was changed. The project has actually a long history. So it started as a hack night presentation, a hack night pitch in July 2024. So it's been quite a long time. And the month after, there was a GitHub project created. The first version of the website was launched a year ago, so towards the holiday in 2024. And then the first, I would say, 1.0 version that was more open to the public was in April 2025. So a lot of things have changed since then, but there's also a lot of things that are continuing. And really the common theme of what we're talking about today is really how it was really a hacking project at first. Let's try to grab APIs, let's try to present data on the website. But things have evolved in a way that now the project is more maturing, and we're trying to really decentralize and make the project sustainable for the long term. We haven't got a feature in the Toronto Star this year in August, so now we have people using the tool, using the website, so it's kind of different expectation in terms of how the website works, where we have people are expecting us for the website to be running and working kind of every day. So that's why it's kind of different in how things have changed. So I'll go with just a little demo of what the website looks like. All right. So Civic Dashboard, the website really, our homepage, well, we're going to change the homepage. Let's not focus on that. first people are coming, they want to know, okay, how does city council works? So really, we've created great content for people to really get the basics of how city council works, and really get people kind of acclimated and to understand a little bit better. One of the major part of the website is the action section. So it's basically everything that that is happening in various committees of the city council, but all kind of other committees are meeting around City Hall in Toronto. So it's really about showing what's coming up and also encouraging people to take action, which is really one of our main goals, is taking action in terms of submitting a comment about something being proposed or even requesting to speak. So, and now we have actually templates that we're offering to help people with that part. So that's a big part of the website, is encouraging people to take action. The other part is getting to know who represents them, so the Toronto City Councillors, and understanding how they're voting. And when you're part of a specific ward, you want to know what your councillor is doing and what their opinions might be. So really, it's a big part as well as understanding what they've been voting on. And I'd say a big part that we've been adding and that we're going to talk later in the presentation is our wiki. So now we have a wiki that is being written by the research team to really increase the amount of content that we're able to really help people to understand city politics. And we have a wiki that is fully functional and easy to update. So I'm gonna pass to Michael. Yeah, and really show you what we've been up to since April, because not only have we been adding feature on the website, but we've also changed the structure of the project and make it more decentralized, but also trying to make the website more like the project, more of an ongoing, livable project that can live even if the founder or even if many of the participants are not around all the time. So it's really beginning to be really a collective project in a way.
Yeah, so as Jerome says, a lot of the changes we made since April have been both in terms of what we've added to the product itself, but also in terms of our organization. We've just launched a project board. So every team is now on GitHub, which is where we assign tasks, we track progress, and we've got our own labeling system. So anyone who joins the project can come on and see what part of the website each item is tied to, the priorities. We also have tags for accessibility. So if someone joins, there's a good first item to get involved with first. A variety of different tags just to make the project as accessible and as trackable and as open as possible. We've also launched our volunteer roster. So we can now track who's actively engaged in the project, who's taken a break. One of the challenges with a project of this size, especially of volunteers, is that people come in and out. But we have people who are active, and we have people who are active-ish and reachable. We have people who are taking a step back, just so we can track it in one place. And it also means that we have a point of contact available for each team. And it also means that people who are no longer active can stay connected to the project. We can have contact details for knowledge transfer, people who want to stay engaged after they've left. And yeah, just as we're saying, trying to increase accessibility for new members and organizational structure that way. We have labs as well. Jerome's going to talk about that.
Little inspired from the Google Labs is one thing that is really an objective for us is really getting people in the tech team to be able to contribute as fast as possible. But because now the website is available and people are using it, there's a lot more steps to be sure that a feature is actually ready to be used by everyone. So instead of pushing things straight into production, we do have a lab section where people can work on those features and we can gather comments, and it's just a place to push our code and before it's ready for prime time, before it's ready for everyone to use it. So it's really a way to accelerate our development without being hindered by processes in terms of making sure it's ready for the website. And then analytics, we actually had some debates about that. Is like, it's a democratic tool, should we be tracking people? So it was a good question, and we've tried to find a tool that is the least invasive from a privacy perspective. So we're using Umami, and Umami is still tracking things, but it's a very, very small amount. It's also not located in the United States. And the important thing as well for analytics is we've decided to make it public, so people can actually see in the footer of the website the kind of data we're gathering. And the reason we decided that analytics was important is we have a UX team, we have people trying to make the website better, and we want to know how people are using the website. And we need the basics of really understanding where people are clicking, where they're spending time, and at least it's giving us very important information for the project. So when we're looking at the tech architecture for Civic Dashboard, it hasn't changed at all since for almost for the whole year. We're using two sets of very important APIs. So TMIS and then the Open Data API from the City of Toronto, which goes in the Postgre database, and then it goes in a Next.js front end hosted on Cloudflare. Everything is free. So our whole infrastructure is still free. We're not paying for anything at the moment because that's how we build things. However, through the years, we're scaling up. We have more visitors. We also have things that happen. For example, we had the City of Toronto is trying now to, I would say, maybe block or limit the amount of people that are using the TMIS API because officially it's not an open API. We're using the API, but they're not really encouraging anyone to use it the way we're using it. And one day it just stopped working, maybe a month ago. And now we have to kind of simulate how we're calling the API to pretend that we're not a project that is gathering a lot of data. Those are the kind of things when you're scaling and you have a project that continues for the long term is like, now we're not just trying to find data and like put something together quickly. Like we need stable source of data. And that's starting to be an issue when we're using undocumented APIs. For now, we're still good, but we'll see. It's still a challenge, but things are working well with the open data team, of course. But also, we have too much data, and we've had challenges where loading the Councillor page would crash the website entirely. So we only fixed that. I mean, we've been working on it for a while. It only got deployed last week. I thought it was really important for the presentation today that the website would not crash as you're trying the website. But yeah, we have much more data, much more things that are accumulating. And the way we have structured things, like very, very quick code, was not working anymore. And now we need to be more careful about how we're gathering and ingesting and presenting all this data. And we want to be sure we stay in the free plan. So there's a lot of those challenges that now happen that you don't really see when you start a new hacking project, but you see more when you're keeping a project for the long term. And on the tech side, so as I showed earlier, we're showing email templates to help participants to take action. We have PDF attachment provided by the city agenda items. They're now shown on the website. Our content page have more like little bubbles to help people understand what a term means. And we made our wiki actually very easy to update so that the research team, as Sam was saying, not everyone here is technical. So we wanted to find a way to make our wiki updatable in a way that even non-tech people can do it. So that was a big challenge, and that's something that is working now. So I think we can, Richard would be talking.
All right. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. All right. Thanks, Rome. Last year, we went through some pretty big design steps as well, and I'll give a recap of what's been happening. Switch. All right. Where we were 6 months ago. Coming off last year, we had a enthusiastically shareable launch of Civic Dashboard. And we had generally three main questions and goals. Number one, how are real users experiencing the site? We looked to get as much live feedback as we could on the current iteration. Number two, are we solving the right problems for the right people? With the site launch, we were looking for validation on the problems and users we've identified as being able to help with Civic Dashboard. Were we right? And number three, what should we focus on? We have limited resources and time. What was the easiest, highest priority things we could do with the feedback and insights we were getting? Next slide, please. Um, First, we focus on feedback and testing. We had a live feedback pipeline that gave us a lot of data through a Google form and email link on the site. And we went through pretty much all of the stuff we got and mapped them out to find insights and opportunities. Next slide, please. Some of the insights we found was that the homepage was still a bit confusing, hence the aforementioned redesign. People weren't sure of what Civic Dashboard was when they landed, or what to do when they landed. Number two was helping people take action. Helping people take action is a big goal, but information overload was still a blocker, even if we made the path to taking action clear. Knowing how to take action was one thing, and we did a good job at doing that, but finding the information you needed or what you actually wanted to take action on was another question. To build on that, for number three, many users didn't have an end goal of taking action. Actually, they had other goals and other use cases, which added on to an ongoing conversation of revisiting our basic users and problems and where this website was actually useful. And number four, just generally more usability research and iteration was needed, as well as some stuff on information architecture. Next slide. Building on those insights, we did another round of more focused user interviews and testings over, I think, the time around June, narrowing down on usability, information architecture, and seeing exactly where confusion and friction was happening. We knew people were getting confused. Now we were trying to figure out where specifically this was happening. Next slide. Some key insights from that was that number one, the City Hall meeting items that we were showing in our actions pages were still quite confusing with unclear labeling, dates, and more. As well as number two, our email alerts that we were building and signups were both quite text dense and intimidating. So those were on our fix list. We also got a couple of important insights, such as number three, a lot of the engaged people we were targeting show up already with a specific goal and issue in mind, as opposed to just browsing. So it was more of helping people finding the specific things they care about, as opposed to helping people browse for stuff. And number four, these users still mostly weren't succeeding at finding the issues that they cared about. Information overload was still kind of a big issue, and people were still getting confused. Next slide. In terms of validation for whether we were solving the right problems for the right people, we initially were targeting early adopters, democracy power users, as we call them, people who were engaged, empowered, and for whom we could be a force multiplier. However, in our testing and research, most of the aha moments actually came from the next group of users, engaged citizens, people who were motivated but perhaps were confused on how to take action. Right now, at least, I think this is where we are feeling Civic Dashboard could really help out. And we are engaging in more discussion and research around these users and their specific issues. Next slide, please. All right, moving on to what we're working on now and how we're putting all that research into action. We first did a really simple rebuild of the homepage, creating CTAs for our features instead of just describing the Civic Dashboard team. This was an easy win based off the feedback of people not knowing what Civic Dashboard was on the homepage, and us just trying to really describe the product instead of just what we do in our team. Next page. Right now, we're also doing some iterations on the actions page, where all the City Hall items are listed. Trying to show that stuff in an easier to understand way and trying to increase relevance and decrease information overload. For example, replacing some text buttons with icons, changing up the information hierarchy, just trying to make it less dense and more easy to process. Next slide, please. And lastly, we're doing more homepage iterations. The current version is a stopgap solution that we are looking to further refine and just overall keeping a show don't tell mindset of how to quickly show what Civic Dashboard does and how it's useful through interaction instead of just having a description. For example, the first screenshot on the left might not be entirely clear because it's a bit small, but we have like a live showcase of the City Hall items as they're appearing, so you can like see what's relevant instead of just having the page try to tell you. In the future, for the design team overall, we're looking to further flesh out these experiments and iterations to create simpler and more relevant flows throughout all the features, as well as to gear up to building a actual design system once we have the functionality figured out, as well as to just continue our research throughout to make sure we are headed in the right direction. And that's it for me and design.
Thank you, Richard.
And yeah, on to research and writing, which is the team I'm a part of. We've been very busy since April. We've recently launched our wiki, our first iteration of the wiki, which has been something we've been building off the How Council Works page, just going more in depth into various structures, various systems, as well as bylaws, elections, powers of city councillors, just more in-depth explanation and analysis of how the different structures of city council works. We've also launched a deputations guide, which is both practical advice in terms of what the bylaw says of how you sign up, where you go, how you do it, but also stylistic advice of how to give a deputation, what to speak about, how to make an impact with your communication. And yeah, we're constantly expanding on the wiki, and it's been very exciting. In terms of outreach, we have recently expanded into new forums. Going beyond the digital, a good friend of the project, Matt Elliott in the Toronto Star, recently shouted us out in an August space, us and Bike Space, as examples of technology for good. We've also expanded into the physical realm. For the Ward 25 by-election, we developed a FAQ page for the Ward 25 election, just giving various explainers about how to vote, how to get engaged. We then created a bunch of posters, QR codes. We went to the ward. As you can see here, a lot of very happy faces. And we went and we discussed issues with residents in the ward. We shared the tool. We got to know how they were engaging with democracy in a time of heightened political engagement and activity. And we used it as a test run for hopefully further engagement with the municipal election. So in terms of what we learned, we are a longer term project. It's been over a year now, and I have not been around for all of it at all, but it's a big project, and it's a project where lots of things happen very fast, and having to balance the kind of centralization and autonomy of a bunch of new people coming on, a bunch of people with a variety of backgrounds and skill sets, which bring a bunch of new perspectives to what the tool could be, what the tool should be. So we've really had to try and balance the kind of focus on autonomy for when you join, and ease of accessibility, the speed that gives you, the ability to develop very quickly with a balance and a centralized goal. Ilya put it very well when he said that our main metric is visits to City Hall rather than visits to our website. And having that as a centralized goal really creates cohesion across the teams. We need to direct the kind of chaotic energy that comes with these civic tech projects into something unified that also allows people to come in and out at will and join the project immediately and contribute meaningfully. And assessing our contribution with that same metric has really, really helped the teams work together. We've also really stressed the importance of documentation. We found it really important to document the progress on ideas and projects, getting it out of individuals' brains and into teams to collaborate. It takes it off people's plates and also allows people to go to and from the project without real serious loss of process knowledge. The documentation of people's processes as well as the progress on their ideas really helps with onboarding. If you have really well documented how we do things, it means that people can jump into the project straight away. And if people leave the project for a period of time or forever, we don't lose all of their skills and their process with them. It's been a big focus to remove single points of failure within the project, and this ties into the documentation. Everyone has to be able to share what they're doing, the process of how they're doing it, so that if they have to drop out for any reason, the project continues on in their absence. And we find that having minimal overhead for the maintenance of this documentation means that the documentation process is very easy for people to buy into it, and it gets maintained regularly, which is what we're hoping to achieve.
And what we've learned on the tech side is really to get people, we have a lot of volunteers that join with a tech background, but it's like, how do we get people to like join and like really start contributing immediately? So can they, making sure instructions are really clear, so that they can have a local environment, they can start coding, what's the process to submit new code into production, and documenting all those steps, and really making sure, because as a volunteer, there's nothing, I guess, worse than feeling like you're not contributing. So seeing your first commit, your first code push to production is really, really important to motivation and getting people engaged in the long term. And then it's also, trying to always balance that at the end of the day, people are coming because they want to have fun. They want to come and maybe work on new technologies they've never worked on, and really get involved in the tech sector that in a way maybe they're not getting from their day job. So how do we keep making it fun and making it interesting, but at the same time keeping processes, because making sure that we keep stability on the website and that there's a process and a review. So there's always a balance. We don't want to make things too complicated or too many processes, but at the same time keeping the fun into our project.
Yeah, so in terms of what's next for the project, we're really focused on an organized growth and marketing push in advance of the 2026 municipal election in October. We learned a lot of really useful lessons from our work in advance of the Ward 25 by-election, and we're really pushing to get more people engaged in advance of the 2026 election. That's in person and online as well, being able to engage directly with people, spread marketing efforts, and make the tool as usable and as accessible as possible at a time when it's going to be very necessary. We're also going to be growing the documentation on the wiki. So the government guide page is going to be expanding constantly. We're also going to be developing new guides, practical guides in terms of engagement, be it from contacting and engaging with councillors to advocacy and organising. I think there's a lot of space for the wiki to become a really useful tool.
And then, well, as the design team was saying, they're going through a lot of iteration, major change to how we can use the website. So it's going to be a lot of work to implement that, but this is definitely something that is coming and will be a focus in the next few months. And of course, there's always the topic of AI, in terms of maybe we want to have summaries, maybe we want to do automatic tagging, but at the same time, because it's part of the democratic process, and LLM sometimes make shit up. So we want to be careful. We want to do it the right way, but there is technical challenge, of course, and just philosophical challenge of going with AI.
And yeah, so in terms of where you fit in, you can get to dashboarding. You can use the tool, you can engage with your city, and if you like it, you can tell your friends about it. We also have various social media pages. We have a newsletter that you can sign up for directly on the site. We have LinkedIn, we have Blue Sky. And once you use the tool, you can give us feedback. You'll know if you go onto the tool, there's a big orange banner at the top saying, please give us feedback. There's a link to a Google form you can fill out, or you can sign up for a user interview. Last 30 to 45 minutes. You can go through with our user interface team and give really in-depth feedback on what you like and what you don't like. It's really been helpful, as Richard was saying earlier. You can also join us at the Civic Tech Hype Nights every Tuesday like this, and you can jam with us after the breakout talk. If you've seen something so far that you really like and you want to tell us about it, come and talk to us. If you've seen something you really don't like and you want to tell us how you'd fix it, come and talk to us. We'd love to hear everything you have to say. So yeah, the next, and we're always looking to improve the site. The site is kind of constantly evolving, which has been really, really nice. Everything you see on screen are things that we're working on currently and things we're going to be continuing to work on. If you see anything here that you are really interested in, something that you think that fits your skill set perfectly, please feel free to join the team. We would always welcome more engineers, more coders, more researchers, more civically engaged citizens, anyone who's interested in civic democracy and technology and how a tool like this could be used to improve society around them. We want to hear from you. We want to work with you. So come and join the team. It's been great for the time I've been here, and yeah, we'd love to have more of you. Yeah. And then the next slide is just a lovely photo of the team we have, and you can be up there too one day. So thank you everyone for listening, and thank you so much for the space. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you both so much. I don't know if I've ever seen a civic tech project with a labs portion, and I just love that so much. We normally do a Q&A, but just for time, I'm going to skip the Q&A, but they will be available in a breakout following, within the next 10 minutes, we'll be breaking out, and they'll be here to answer your questions.